Hello, this is Fatima from Easy Automation Labs, and this is our fourth class of QA course. And today we will be discussing more about our testing in softwares. And let's go back to where we left off in our previous class. So, as I was saying, we finished our discussion by the DevOps where he deploys our software and we get an interface. After that, before that, everything was just codes and just normal links. But after he deploys that, when then we get a web application like that. And so, okay, let's go back to review the last part. So what in we were talking about our first sprint, sprint 1, and which included 3 user stories: user story 1, 2, and 3. And in this user stories, it says that we only will only focus on sign up fields and buttons, and then the side panels and the top menu. Okay, and say three developers worked on these in this sprint, and then they had code review meeting, and then the tech lead selected the codes that the developers created to put them in the master group, the master branch. And then till now all of these are repository link. What are repository links? Repository links are something that we write in our GitHub application, and that automatically get generated into a link that is called repository link, and all 3 codes of the 3 developers are then integrated, and after that dev will then review it. No, if he reviewed the codes, then he put integrated all 3 codes, or all the necessary codes for for our user stories, and then he will send the repository links to DevOps, and DevOps will do what? He will do his work in where he will do his job in Jenkins. I hope we remember all of this. So in Jenkins, what he does, first he will get the repository link, and then he will do all the necessary things. But before that, we did not had anything anything visual. But after that, as this is in the environment section, dev environment, so DevOps will create a link for say www.yourstore.com dev, so all of the members can easily understand that this is still in the dev section. And he will after he put the link here, he will trigger the build, and after triggering the build in Jenkins, everything that he needed to done in Jenkins, then our application will be deployed just like this. Okay, so in this is our application, and as you can see, it's written here that DevOps configures Jenkins and triggers the build, and the whole web application deploys in the web. We will only get this part. Okay, we will only get this part and this part, the side panel and the top menu. Okay, register button and buttons, side panels and top menu, no bottom or anything else. And as you can see, in this section, all the page URLs according to functionalities will be deployed here. Okay, till now everything that has been created will be put down here. It was until now we did not see anything visualized or anything like that, but after deploying the links, after DevOps have deployed it, we can see this now. And then this is the link. All right, so this is the link. So this is the link, and after creating this link, what the tech lead will do, what he's going to do, he will let's go to our Confluence. Yeah, and then he will simply put it down in here. So say in first sprint it was our registration page. Obviously it was our registration page, and then also in our epic let's go to in this part he will also test plan and test strategy. Okay, also as I mentioned in our last class, that to update our test plan all the time, which is really necessary. So tech lead, whenever he gets any link or any update, he will do this. He will immediately go and update the link here. And then let's go back to our discussion. And then, as you can see, so let's discuss the developers' work, what they have done to create this. So dev 1, he creates all the codes for fields and continue button. Fields and continue button. Okay, so dev 1 has done this part, and then dev 2 has done the top menu, and dev 3 has done the side panel bar. All three dev has worked on for building this part, and then after DevOps deployed the link in Jenkins, then we get our web application. We can see it, but till now we did not see it before DevOps deployed deployed all the necessary codes, integrated codes. And we also remember that in sprint we have one sprint, and one sprint meaning 2 weeks, right? So let's say all of this all of this work took 1 week. Okay, 1 week. Oh, sorry, but before that I have to show you something, that our GitHub. Let's show you the GitHub. I only talked about GitHub, but I did not show you. So let's go to GitHub. So this is GitHub, and we can create our accounts, and we can upload our codes in our own branch. So as our discussion from our last class, what happened here? So say dev1 uploaded his codes for to be under this group, uploaded his code, and then he tagged the QA lead, technical lead, sorry, tagged the technical lead. So let's say this is a branch. This is a branch, this is a master branch. So this is this master branch, and in this branch, let's say here's 5 developers code, each codes. In this example we have 3, but say we have 5 developers, and this is the master branch. As you can see, this is a master branch. All developers codes are integrated, and if we go inside this, we can see, yeah, we only can see the codes here. Okay, we can only see the codes here, but there is no interface, there is no visual interface that we can see, but all we can see is the codes, nothing more or less. And then we have as I said, for the master branch, for the repository link of the master branch will be given to the DevOps technical lead, sent repo link to DevOps of the master branch. What is master branch? Here. Okay, this is the master, and the link of our master branch is here. This is the link. Okay, this link will be given to the DevOps. All right. Okay then. So that's how it's happened, and after that we will go back to our, then it will be updated on our Confluence, so that everyone can see and everyone can work on. Okay, so our discussion, we were, so we have 2 weeks of time. So for in first week, 1 week for dev. So say dev took, all of the developers took 1 week to build the codes, to integrate and everything. Okay, unit testing mainly, they completed the unit testing. Also in integration. Okay, and then the second week is for the testers. All right, second week will be for the testers. So what they will do the dynamic testing. I hope we all know what is dynamic testing, which is also called validation testing, but before that it was called static testing or verification testing. Dynamic testing. Okay, alright, so we have covered this part. So after the developers are done with their work, now what comes? Testers will do this part. So you can see fields and continue buttons are finished by the developers. Now the tester 1 will test this part, tester 2 will test this with the tab buttons, and tester 3 will test the side panel. Okay, so before testing out, we have to go back to our previous discussion, which will be, say, I hope we all remember, in graphics user interface, what would we see? So let's say a box here, and then say this is a system, and then another box here. So this box is called front end. And in middle, the thing that is taking the request and accepting and returning the request, this is called API. And the thing that is taking the information like a storage, this is called database. I have discussed very deeply in our previous classes about front-end API and database. So all I'm going to say is now that we do the testing for all these three, like front-end testing, API testing, and database testing. Okay. And for front-end testing, today our main discussion will be on front-end testing. So we do front-end testing by manually. Okay, manual testing, and then for reporting, we mainly do all the reporting. For reporting, we use Excel. Alright, and then for managing, we use one of the most famous tool there is called Jira, and there is another which is called Test Rally. This is not as most used as Jira, and another one is called ALM. This is an old version which was used for waterfall. And then we have, these are the tools for front-end testing. And for API testing, the most famous tools is called Postman. And then we have another thing, a basic tool we use that is not testing, that we don't do that, not for testing. I hope you remember when I showed you that whenever we go to a web application and when I clicked on inspect, we can see everything behind what is happening in our graphics user interface. So that is called dev tool. We just use that for basic testing, not for any in-depth necessary testing. Dev tool, but whenever someone asks you what tools do you use for API testing, don't say that you use DevTool. Okay. And we have Postman and we have Rest Assured. All right. And for this, the most famous one is Postman. And for database, we have so many databases. First one, the most famous one will be, actually all the databases in this part are same, just the fonts and other systems or other things are different, but all the things are same. All these are same, just only some of them are different, only the names are different. My SQL, and we have Oracle also. Okay, these are databases. So SQL or SQL, this stands for Structured Query Language. Structured Query Language, right? So these three important tools that these tools that we use for testing this part. So they will ask you what sort of or what kind of tool do you use for testing API, okay? Or what sort of tools that you use for testing front end. Okay, so these are the most famous ones, and now let's go back to our today's discussion. So we will be talking about our front end testing. Okay, so first of all, when all the team members will get this interface, when we get this web application. Now for the testing part, testers first will do the smoke testing. What is smoke testing? As you can see here, it's a pipe, right? It is a pipe which has a lots and lots of holes in it. And why it does have a lots and lots of holes, I'm going to explain it later. But what is smoke testing? Okay, so say we got this application, but we will first, at a glance, what we're gonna see, if everything is working correctly or everything is fine as we have wrote all the test cases, and we wrote all the test documents, and we also did verification, which by mean we have test everything in our mind. But till now as we are going to do the dynamic testing, we understand that what should be here in our graphics user interface. So we know that in personal details, what will be first name, last name, email. So we are going to check if only the first name exists, or if there is the last name also exist or not. Okay, so we will only focus on that part. Okay, and then we have we will mostly check if the basic functionalities are working or not. Okay. The smoke testing will be for basic testing. We will just check. Another thing is that to check we will check all the buttons are working here. If all the buttons are working, and if everything is working regarding of basic, and check if it is ready for in-depth testing. Okay. The smoke testing will not contain any documentation or any test cases. No test cases or no documentations will be wrote down for our smoke testing. Alright, but we will just prepare this application by smoke testing, and we will check whether this application is ready or not for in-depth testing. Let's write it down here. We will check we will mainly check whether this application is ready. Okay. If it's ready for in-depth testing or not by smoke testing. Okay, smoke test only, meaning we will go to the basic functionalities. Okay, so let's go deep into that. So this is our registration page. Say the tech lead has already uploaded it to our dev environment URL, so everyone can, so mainly the testers can go and test. So if I click on this part, so I can see everything except this part, except the top menu, and the, still haven't figured out this part as also only this part. Okay, only these parts have been created till now, and now we have to test it. So I will check if I put down a name, if I fill out all the necessary credentials, and for what credentials and what emails, we will mainly use the data that we will get from our test data that the lead will provide us. And after that we can do this. Technical lead will provide us with information to test out everything, and we will check if the basic functionalities of this web application is working properly or not. Let me say it one more time. Nothing here will be documented or written in test cases, because everything we will do by, we will just go to the basic functionalities. Alright, and now that is called our smoke testing. And after that, let's see what it's written here. Smoke testing is a type of software testing that checks whether the basic functionalities of an application are working properly or not. It is performed to ensure that the critical functionalities of the applications are working fine before proceeding with further testing. As we can see that we have many more testing parts to go, but before that, smoke testing is the first one that we just at a glance we see if everything is working perfectly or not, or if everything is testable, or everything is perfectly fine to go with in-depth testing. And we can see our first example of smoke testing. Suppose we have developed a login page for a website. Smoke testing for this page would involve checking whether the user is able to enter valid credentials and log in successfully. It would also involve checking whether the user is unable to log in with invalid credentials. Alright? Again, suppose login button has got a defect and fixed it. In that case, smoke test will be same as mentioned above. Okay, what does it say? So here, let's say this is a software, and at first I will touch it and I will see if it is meeting the requirements that was in our requirement analysis. And if I see that if it has some holes in it, just like this pillar has many holes, and the gases are coming out of the holes, and if we see that it has many bugs or defects, in another word, these are not holes, these are bugs. So if we see many bugs, what we're going to do, we will immediately inform the developer, hey, the thing that you have created has many bugs in it, and we will do what we're going to do. We will do necessary, we'll proceed with necessary things to fix it, and then we can do the smoke testing. Will be the same as mentioned above. Okay. And now we have our sanity testing. Sanity testing is a type of software testing that is performed to ensure that the newly added or modified functionality of the software is working as expected. and does not break the existing functionality is also known as a subset of regression testing. And now you may ask me, what is sanity testing, as we have already completed the smoke testing, which by means that it has been tested if its basic functionalities are working or not. So as you can see from our first example, the login button has got a defect and fixed it. So from here, let's just connect these two and say that the login button has a defect and fixed it, and after fixing it, so for the first time, think it for the first time, the application, you got it in your hand, the application, and then what you did, you did the smoke testing. Smoke testing, and you found some bugs or defect, and then it has been fixed. Alright, after that it will be given to you again for testing. First, what you're going to do, first you will do smoke testing, and then you will do sanity testing. Sanity testing. And why it is called a subset of regression testing? Why? Because we are testing something, twice or more than twice. That is why it is called regression testing, because it has similarities to regression. All right. So if it's if it's making confusion, let's just say sanity testing will work when, as you can see in this part, smoke testing is a broad level testing approach that covers all the critical functionalities of the software application. Whereas sanity testing is a narrow level testing approach that focuses only on the specific functionalities that have undergone any changes or updates. Okay, let's say for here. So after receiving this interface or this web application, I was testing through everything, and I saw that this part, this continue button is not working. Okay, this continue button is not working, but you can see that the continue with this button, something that say I have read and agree to the privacy policy. So this is something else. This is another part that was written in the code while making this application. These parts are together. Okay, if the defect has been found in this button, then after fixing it, we must check that if this part is also working properly or not, because these two are very close, and the second time fixing may impact on this part. Alright, so let's say you have found this one. So you have tested out the top menu, the side panel, and the register buttons. You found everything is perfect, and this is called smoke testing. You have finished your smoke testing. Alright, as you have finished your smoke testing, but while you were doing your smoke testing, you found that continue button is not working. So you go out and call the developers, hey, I found some defects, please fix it. So he will accept your request, and he will go and he will fix it, and then he will give it to you again for testing. And then you second time, what you're going to do, you just not immediately going to go to the continue button, are you? You're not going to do that, because your first job is to do this again, go for smoke testing. But I'm going to say something that it might be you might get a question that, hey, if we are doing smoke testing for the second time, wouldn't it be that if sanity testing is a part of regression testing, then why that smoke testing is not a part of regression testing? It is because smoke testing is not documented. No test cases have been written for this part. This is only for basic functionalities. Okay, but sanity testing have its mm, own documentation, and we have to do it as it is, regarding to the defects. So yes, obviously we have to do that. And what we're going to do second time, for the second time after the developers have fixed it, we will for the second time we will undergo our smoke testing. Then we can continue in our continue button and see if this is also working, and also we will check if this part is also working or not. So this is why this is called sanity testing. Okay, so definition of sanity testing. Here the in-depth testing we will do will come under the section of sanity testing. Why is it called a subset of regression? If anything comes newly, we test it, and as well we test it if other functionalities are working fine or not, which is also known as regional regression. We will learn about this later. In such a case, the regional regression can be termed as sanity. All the things that I'm naming, smoke testing, sanity testing, these are terminologies that is really, really important to memorize well. Example 2 of sanity testing. Suppose there is a software application that has undergone some significant changes, such as a bug fix or a new feature added. Okay. Let me just put it in the side. Okay, so suppose there is a software application that has undergone some significant changes, such as a bug fix or a new feature added. In that case, the sanity test will be performed to ensure that the bugs or defects identified during the previous testing phase have been fixed and the software application is working as expected. The sanity test will be performed to ensure that the bugs or defects identified during the previous testing. So as I said, in the first testing we identified that this continue button is not working or it has some defects on it. So testing identified during the previous testing phase have been fixed and the software application is working as expected. For the second time we will check whether it is working as expected or not in this application. For example, consider a social media application that has undergone some significant changes, such as a bug fix related to the notification feature. The sanity test will be performed to ensure that the bug related to the notification feature has been fixed and the software application is working as expected. Alright, it can be for Instagram or it can be for Facebook. So says Facebook having some issues with their notifications. So what are we going to do? They will immediately inform the developers, hey, this is not working. So they will do necessary things to fix it. They will give it to you again. You will check, but first you will do the smoke testing. After that you will do the sanity testing and check if everything is working as required. Alright, so this is our sanity testing. For example, for more perfect definition, we can say after doing an initial testing, the in-depth testing is called sanity, okay, which is also called a subset of regression. And sanity testing is a narrow level testing that approach that focuses only on the specific functionalities that have undergone any changes or update. Okay, it mainly focuses on if the application has faced some issues with defect and or some updates or some changes. All right, so this is our sanity testing. Okay, and now this is our in-depth testing. Okay, GUI testing, graphics user interface testing. Okay, What is GUI interface? Let's read out the definition at first. GUI testing is the process of testing that the graphical user interface of a software application to ensure it meets the specified requirements and functions correctly. It involves testing the layout, the design, and functionality of the user interface. Okay. For example, let's go to Amazon. So this is our graphics user interface, and we have created this graphics user interface, and now we will test it. Okay. Mainly what we're going to check is that, as you can see, this box and this box and this box as well, and this box as well, all the boxes, it has many images. Okay. So the graphics user interface mainly testing mainly focuses on the layout and design, which by mean that everything that I can see here is perfectly aligned as the requirements, or you just don't see that this part is here or this PC is in here. It's name written here, but the picture of the PC is here. It's not nothing like that. Everything here in this graphics user interface is aligned and fulfilling the needs and fulfilling the requirements, and we can see that everything here is really perfect. I'm going to show you something else, that the design of the graphics user interface, that you can see that it is like a shady version, that you can see the red is continuously fading from here. So this is also a design, and also all the boxes are really perfectly aligned with each other, so these are not mixed with each other, or these are not making any problems to check out for the customers. So that's what exactly mainly we focus on our graphics user interface. And this is a challenge for the QA testers while they do the graphics user interface testing, because for whenever you are going to the Amazon using your PC, you can see that the interface is showing you something else, but whenever you are using Amazon from your phone, you can see that the interface is showing you something else. Okay, so it might cause some problems in each application. So say in for say it's in your web browser or on your application, or if you downloaded the Amazon, it could show you something else. So this is mainly mainly a challenge for the QA testers, because they have to make everything perfect in graphics user interface. And yeah, so it is mainly for the visuals and designs and layout only for this part. Okay. Yeah, it involves testing the layout, design, and functionality of the user interface. Okay, and now we will read our checklist of graphics user interface. Okay, testing the size, position, width, height of the elements. The size and the position, width, and height of the elements, as you can see. So say this is 10 by 20, or 10 by 20, 10 by 20. All three have the same measurements. And testing the error messages that are getting displayed. Okay, testing the error messages. Okay, so if I click on continue, is it showing me an asterisk sign? Yes, it is showing me an asterisk sign. That means we will test it out. Okay, if it shows me an asterisk sign, that means it has some errors. So yeah, so this is also fulfilling our checklist. Okay, so this is also fulfilling our checklist. And then we have testing the different sections of the screen. Yeah, we have so many sections, like this upper part and the bottom part as well, and back to top, and the order cart and everything, and testing of the font whether it is readable or not. Sometimes whenever you go to an application, you can see that the letters are really disturbing to read or really annoying for anyone to read. So what we will check if our fonts or our text that we have provided in our web application is perfectly readable or not for the customer. Okay, this is also a checklist. And testing of the screen in different resolutions with the help of zooming and zooming out. Okay, so this is what it means, zooming and zooming out. Okay, and then we have testing the alignment of the text and other elements like icons, buttons, etc. are in proper place or not. So yeah, it means delivered to Bangladesh. Okay, you can see it is perfectly aligned with this Amazon part. And also, all of these are maintaining their places in perfect layout or design. Okay, so if you read all of the checklists, you can check that it is mainly related to the how our web application will look, the visuals mainly. Okay, so this is our graphics user interface, and then we have the challenges in graphics user interface testing. Graphics user interface testing can present several challenges for QA testers. One challenge is ensuring that the application works on different devices and platforms, which requires testing on multiple devices and operating systems. Another challenge is keeping up with changes in technology and user preferences, which may require updates to the application's user interface and corresponding GUI tests. Okay, the first part is already I have discussed, which is you're using the application in your phone, it shows you something else, but when you are using this in your PC, it shows you something else. So it cannot happen. It have to be perfectly well aligned and perfectly designed to work perfectly in both of the application. All right, and then another challenge is keeping up with the technology. Okay, yeah. So we sometimes get many requests from our customer to they want our application to be like this, like that. Hey, I am not comfortable using it like that. So uh, the requirements or the requests from our customers, we might need to come up with any updates, or we might need to user preferences, as you can see, or technology. If the technology has some changes, we might need to go with the update or as well. So this is challenging for the QA testers because they have to cope up with everything that comes new for them to test. Okay, and then first one will be our functional testing. Okay, this is also everything that I'm discussing is a part of our front end testing. So let's start with our functional testing. It is also in dev environment. We are still not in our SIT environment. All right, so this is functional testing. And features or functions testing according to test cases and test scenarios, including database if required, unit and integration. Let me tell you one more time, our unit and integration testing is already done by the developers. Okay, and now system integration testing is SIT, which will be covered after we are done with our dev environment. And then we have this part, we have to cancel it out. Positive testing, negative testing. Okay, what is positive testing and what is negative testing? Okay, let's start with our positive testing. Testing the application with valid inputs is called positive testing. It checks whether an application behaves as expected with positive inputs. For example, enter only numbers. Okay, really easy to understand this part because let's say here, so it is asking me my name. Okay, and in password, or sorry, for telephone, you cannot really write down your telephone with letters, obviously not. You have to use numbers. So if in telephone section I am using numbers to fill it out, and in my names I'm using letters, and in my email I am using both, and in my password I'm using everything that is required, then if I continue and it is working perfectly as required, then that will be called positive testing. I mean, in definition, if we want to say, positive testing will be an application is working perfectly when we give the data as required. Alright, so it is asking me numbers and I give it numbers. Alright, so this is called positive testing. There is a text box in an application which can accept only numbers. Entering values up to 999 will be acceptable by the system, and any other values apart from this should not be acceptable. To do positive testing, set the valid input values from 0 to 999 and check whether the system is accepting the values. So let's say here for password I can only give up to 32 values, whether it can be numbers or mix of numbers or mix of letters, everything else, but it has to be under 0 to 32. I cannot surpass it more than 32. If I go and put down more than 32, then it will show me an error message, but if I complete my password within 32, then it will work perfectly. So this is called positive testing. And then we have our negative testing. Just the opposite of positive testing is negative. It is nothing hard. Testing the application with invalid input is called negative testing. It checks whether an application behaves as expected with the negative inputs. For example, this is simple. This is mainly for the testing's purpose. So say I can see that I have to put down my name in here using letters. Of course, you're going to write down your name using letters, alright? So whenever you are supposedly, you'd know that if you put down letters in your name box, then it's going to show you error. But do you know whether the application will going to show you error or not? Do you know, or do you have any idea what it's going to show you? But you are expecting that if you give some letters so if you give some numbers, say 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 or whatever, it will show you an error. This is what you are expecting, and if it shows you an error message, then your expectation is correct, and yes, it is called negative testing. Testing the application with invalid input is called as negative testing. You are checking whether your web application is able to check out for the errors or not. Okay, it checks whether an application behaves as expected with negative inputs. Okay, for example, it enter only numbers, it's asking you, but you put down letters. So this is called negative testing. Negative testing can be performed by entering characters A to Z or from A to Z or from A to Z. Okay, capital letters and small letters. Either software system should not accept the values, or else it should throw an error message for these invalid data inputs. Okay, these two terminologies are really important and really easy to understand. After that, we have our error handling. This is an important part, so we must focus on this part. Okay, what is error handling? Understanding error handling, functional testing. Okay, any graphics user interface that shows how an application responds to errors and expectations, that is called error handling. to find out as we have to find out as many error as we can find. The main part or the main goal of this testing is to find out, the testers will find out as many errors they can find. All right, the testers, and after that the testers will write test steps as well, and they will mark the errors. Okay, regarding this part they will write down many test steps, and they will write down test cases and test steps as well, and they will mark those as well. Okay, so let's go and discuss it briefly. To say this part, we got this application newly arrived. All right, so tester 1 will test this part. So what he's going to do, he put down all the credentials. He clicked on continue button. Yeah, and he have now successfully logged into something. All right, then what he is going to do, he will have to do that. Okay, now that I can see that my application is testing perfectly or working perfectly, now I can check whether or not my application is able to handle the errors or not. So say if I put down something 1 to 8 or 1 2 3 4 5, and uh, everything else, all the other credentials I put correctly, only the first name I put in in numbers, it will obviously show me an error. Okay, so if I give this one incorrectly, it will show me an error. If I give this one incorrectly and everything else correctly, it will show me an error. If I give this one incorrectly or everything else correctly, it will show me an error. Or if I do not click on this link or put down everything perfectly, it will show me an error. Okay, and then I have tested out as many times as I can, or I have found out if my web application is able to check out, able to hold down all the errors or not. So say why we are doing this testing, what is the main sole purpose of this testing. So say after deploying our website for worldwide using, so say after 6 months of our deployment, after 6 months of our production has been using globally, what happens, that some customer have put down his phone number instead of his name, but it didn't show any error message. Then this is going to be a big trouble for all of us. So say, or someone have given any wrong password. Okay, someone has given some wrong password or someone else's password. So without any security pass, if he clicked on continue without showing any error, uh, it shows him the count of the person he's trying to log in. Then that's going to be a trouble for us. So that is why in error handling testing we try to find out as many errors as we can. And error handling functional testing is a type of testing that checks how an application responds to error and expectation. It involves testing various scenarios where errors may occur or evaluating how the application handles them. So as I just discussed, how it will handle, how it's going to show if I give out a wrong name or letter or number instead of the letter, then if it's showing me the asterisk or not, or if it's showing me the error or the exclamatory sign or the exclamatory sign or not. Okay, during error handling functional testing, it is essential to identify the types of error that can occur, the severity of the errors, the expected behavior of the application. When an error occurs, this type of testing helps in ensuring that the application remains stable and does not crash when faced with error. So what did I mean by this? So let's say, as I just said, testers will write test cases. So this is say a test case. a test case. Okay, let's say this is a test case. So now let's write our test case. So for error handling part, why we are writing this test case? Because say there will be a lot of error handling, there will be a lot of update throughout the whole process, throughout the whole testing part. So in order to keep the error handling part in, in a documentation system, the testers will immediately write down test cases based on the error handling of the web application. So let's say say let's write down the first test case, which will be uh, validate first name field with invalid data. 1 to 32 was our requirement. Okay, this is our test case, and now we will write our test steps for this. Okay, test steps 1, go to sorry login URL. Second is click on first name field, and then third, you can write as many according to your features modules. It depends. I'm just giving an example. Click on first name field. Mm, and continue. And these are test steps. And for these tests, and then expected result is it should show us an error message. Actual result, it actually showed us an error message. Error message. So this test case was only written for name. Okay, name field. But you can write down many using the emails or other things. So many parts you will get, like all the things regarding the application. You can write as many test steps and as many test cases. So yeah, and uh, you will put a you will sorry, you will just mark all everything, mark everything. Okay, so this is why we do this, because in future whenever we are doing an update on our application, so that we can understand and we can find out previously if we had any error handling, so that we can work on. All right, yeah. And then we have other mentioned functional testing will be performed according to test case documents or test design documents. All right, what did we mean? We have two more left, which is we have our we just finished our error handling, and now let's continue our calculations or manipulations testing. And what is calculations or manipulations testing? Let's go to Amazon and give you an example. So yeah, this is Amazon, all right? So everything related to maths or everything related to calculations will be our calculation testing or manipulation testing. So let's go to yeah, cooker or crockeries items, and let's say I have this one. So let's say this one I have, and I'm going to add. You can see the quantity, okay? You can for this item only you can they showed you only you can only order three, but for now, so the quantity I am putting here one and add to cart, I'm just adding it to cart. All right, so if you go and see that in my cart there is one uh, product is only showing, so yeah, also this is my, and now if I add three, okay, then I can see add to cart, and if I can see that my cart has showing me three products now. And also when I clicked on the quantity, when I mm, let's go to another product, say this one, and I have added quantity to 5, but previously I had 3 products in my cart, and now I have added 5 products in my cart. Now you can see that it is only showing me 4, but it should not show, should not, really should not show me 4, because I have added 4 items, and now I'm going to add 5. Okay, now it is showing me 5 items. All right, so if I just make it 5, and now it is showing me 8 products in my cart. So as you can see, I am clicking on this calculation, I'm doing all the calculations, and it is showing me that my money is increasing every time I'm increasing my products, in every time I'm increasing my quantity of the products. It is also doing the it's also doing the math that we have put together in the system, so it is also showing me the payment as well. And it is also, I can also manipulate, like just if I delete this whole item, just because I clicked the delete option, the price literally dropped down to 104.97 cents. So yeah, and if I only click on delete options, and now it is, my cart is empty and subtotal is $0. All right, that is what we call calculations and manipulations testing. And if testing by testing, if we are going to check if our calculations and manipulations test are working perfectly or not. All right, and and our next topic will be links existence and links execution. Okay, so yeah, let's go back and click on all. You can see all the items in our Amazon, and so but all the buttons in our Amazon, these are not only buttons, these are linked. Okay, all of these are linked, that was created in this software, in this application. So if you click on it, music, it will take you to music, so this is a link. Okay, so podcast, for the whole software, for the whole interface, the link is this one. And if I go to podcast, the link is different. You can see the link is different from another, each and another. Okay, so that is what, if I all the thing, if I click on this option but this is not working, this button is not working, then that might be a bug. So that's what we test in our links existence and links execution. All right, okay. And now we have our database testing. I have already discussed this in starting of our class. And then we have cookies and sessions. Okay, cookies and sessions by mean whenever you go to a new website or whenever you are checking out a website, they want you to accept their cookies and URLs, because they will show you their products on your phone. They can show you similar products, or whenever you are talking, you're not using your phone but you're talking about a specific product. Say you want to buy that product, you are thinking of buying that product, but whenever you open your phone, you go to Google or any other browser, you see that that product is in front of your interface. So that's how mainly cookies work. And if you click allow on the cookies, it shows the product we want. And let's say, and for session, that's what is okay, these are cookies part. And for sessions, some, what did I mean by session? You have logged in a website, or you have opened an account in Amazon. So let's say for Amazon, you have opened an account, but after 3 months, you haven't used this application for 3 months, say. But after 3 months, whenever you are going to log into it, you will see that you are no longer logged in with your account. You have to put down your credentials, your email, your password, then you have to log in once again if you want to use Amazon. So that's how it works. All the different application has different time limited. So for says for Amazon, it is 3 months. After 3 months, it will automatically, remove you from their system, because you have to go you have to log in once again using your email and password. But for Facebook, the session is different. It will give you like one year. Even after 1 year, if you go to log in, you say that you are still logged in, they still did not log you out. So yeah, so different application works differently. But for banking, we see that whenever we make a payment, or every time we go to make a payment, they will ask for your email and password every time, because for safety issues, so that no one can go and find your account logged in and just snatch everything they can. So that's how it works for different applications. The session, that's how it works. And that's how we are done with our functional testing. And then, what does it say? If no defect found, all the test cases will be passed. Okay. If we found any defect, we update them in Jira. We will discuss it later. And now suppose sprint 1 is completed and there will be some meetings. Okay, sprint review meeting, say sprint retrospective meeting. Okay, so what did I mean by our sprint 1 is completed? So it is 2 weeks that every sprint takes. For first week, the developers creates the website, and the second week the testers mainly test everything. And then there is a 2 days gap between there is a 2 days gap between each sprint. Okay, so first day will be sprint review. Second day, sprint retrospective. Okay, so what is sprint review meeting? In this sprint review meeting, everyone in our company, even the business owner, all the stakeholders in sprint review meeting will be there. Everyone, including BA. Okay, everyone, including BA. Oh, no, 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 sorry, not BA, business people will be there. So, a meeting held at the end of each sprint to review the work completed and demonstrate the project increment to stakeholders. Okay, all right. So, what will happen? So say we have completed um, our first one. So not not this part, not this part, not this part, only this part we have done and also tested. So we will show it to everyone, all the stakeholders, regarding our business people as well. We will show them the possibilities of errors, and we will show them how it works, how it's going to demonstrate. We will demonstrate every possible positive testing, negative testing. We will show them everything that we have created so far, and also our errors that we may face if we give wrong inputs, or in one line we will show everyone, all the stakeholders we have done till now. Okay, so that is what sprint review meeting. Okay, and in this review meeting, also the business people and other stakeholders will give their opinion on, hey, this is not working, or this you just change it, something like this, or what you did wasn't satisfied. I wasn't satisfied with your work. They might give out their opinion in this meeting. So that's why this is called sprint review meeting. And a meeting at how each sprint review work completed and demonstrate the product increment to stakeholders. Okay, and then we have in the second day our okay, so we have our another sprint review meeting sample. The team presents the completed user stories and demonstrate the product increment to stakeholders. Feedback is gathered and incorporated into the product backlog. Okay, and then we have our sprint retrospective meeting. In this meeting, the all of them will be there except except business people. Okay, a meeting held at the end of each sprint to reflect on the process and identify areas for improvement. We basically discuss our next sprint, how we should be prepared for our next sprint. If we found some mistakes in our sprint review meeting, then we should prepare for it, and then we should also prepare for our next sprint. Okay, the team reflects on the sprint and identifies areas for improvement, such as communication, time management, technical skills. Action items are created and assigned to team members. I mean, all of the possibilities of errors on communication between each other will be discussed on this, and we will prepare um, as we have to, as required for our second sprint. Okay, so now suppose sprint 2 has started and completed in the same way as previously mentioned. Now deployed features is version 1.0.2, but before that our version was version 1.0.1, and now in 0.2 are our header, search, and card. But that our header is, yeah, in this part our header, our search, and our cart. Okay, shopping cart. Okay, sorry, this one, this part. All right, and then now again we will do the smoke test. Some new tests will be added in smoke. The new features will be most important features of new type. Will test previous important features as well as the important features from the release version. Okay, again, we will perform the sanity new, suppose new feature is search and add to cart. Sanity will be testing these new functionalities as well as testing. Okay, I am just going to give a nice example of what everything is written here. So let's say in our first sprint, from here to this was created. Yeah, okay. In our second sprint, this header, this is the header, and this is the search bar, and this is the cart bar. Okay, these three parts was created by the developers and also tested by the testers. But now that when we are going to check if and then this whole user interface, the whole user interface is now showing in the web application. Okay, now, so what, just in simple, first it was 1, second it was 2, and now it is 1 and 2 together. Okay, together, together. But if we want to put them, integrate both of them, we have to check if everything is working. Okay, for now, at first, as we have already done our smoke testing for the second time, we saw that if I click on checkout, if it will take me to shopping cart. If I click on checkout, it will take me to checkout, and if I click on shopping cart, and if I click wish list, you know you can see the logo is also here. If I click on logo, it will also take me to the wishlist part, and if I click on my account, there are login and register, both of two are here. So let's go to register, and if I click on this logo, it will also ask me for these two options. But if I click on this phone, nothing is happening. But if I click on this telephone logo, it will take me to contact option. Okay, so that means this part is buggy. This part is buggy. Now what we're going to do, we will immediately tell the developers to, hey, fix it and give it to me. Then the developers will test it out and he will again give it to me. Then what we are going to do, we are going to now what we are going to do, we will just first we will do the smoke testing. Okay, we won't go and immediately check for this part. Okay, we will do our smoke testing in the whole part, but only sanity testing in this part. Okay, only sanity testing in this part. And then also, let's say this login page has login page in our second sprint, this login page has some bugs, and then we gave it to the developers to fix it, and the developers fixed it and gave it to me. And in return I saw that everything is working fine. But now I will now register is already I have smoke tested, but for the second time, first I will check smoke test the register part, and I will sanity test the login part. So I hope you understand how the sanity and smoke test work for each items. And now that we have all this, so say let's go back to here. Suppose more for sprint passed by and all the different pages are ready and tested, but all pages are not integrated yet, they are having different URLs. Okay, so yeah, so all the sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3, and sprint 4, say sprint 5, all of them are created, but they are created individually. And now, but we cannot go in a complete web application, we just have to click in one by one in order to go to each page. Okay, but after that, what's gonna happen if we want to go to the application, like like Amazon? If I click on Amazon, shows me all the sprints. So say this is sprint 1, this is sprint 2, this is sprint 3. I can see everything in one interface. So for this to happen, our developers will put down, integrate all the URLs, and developers will integrate all the pages together and generate the SIT link. What did I mean by this? Let's go back to our Confluence. Yeah, so these are our 4 sprint, and these are our dev environment URLs, and all of them will be integrated, and all of them will be one SIT environment based URL. So let's say if I click on this, I can see everything from this part. Okay, I can see everything from this part. Okay, it is the home page, and it is the shopping cart, this is the checkout. That's how it works. All right, and yeah, this is our SIT environment, and I hope we already discussed everything regarding our SIT environment, system integration testing environment. The SIT Environment is a crucial phase in the software development lifecycle. It is where all the individual components of the system are integrated and tested as a whole. This environment is used to validate that the system meets the requirements specified in the design phase and that it can handle the expected load and stress. Okay, so that this ends our class for today, and we will continue with our next discussion in our next class, right?